Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Kat, known as phamerina.planning here on YouTube and on Instagram, and today's video is Bujo with me, episode 5. And normally I kind of use this type of video to kind of talk about random planner thoughts. But I think this one I'm going to structure a little closer to a kind of plan with me for bullet journal monthly setups. Um, if you're coming, if you've somehow stumbled across my video from the bullet journal side of this community, I usually do memory planning spreads. But I started out in this community or in the planning community has a bullet journaler. I've bullet journaled for since 2015-ish. My style had changed very substantially since then. But it's different. I think I bullet journal in a different way, or I guess my content is different than other bullet journal people, just because it's a lot of time, and I don't really got that time. So kudos to those who do bullet journal content on YouTube full time. Like, kudos to you. But don't come expecting that kind of style, because that's not how I fly. I'm a little more speaking off the cuff. No, not off the cuff. Just speaking what comes to mind. Speaking whatever catches my fancy. I mean, usually my memory planner spreads are a little more thought out, because I do have a structure. I talk about base, and then I talk about the day by day. But I've never done a bullet journal video like this before, so let's let's get on with it. I've yabbered on. So the basis for my or the theme, I guess it's technically the more correct word, the theme for my October bullet journal is based off of the Ghoulish Glam Twinkle Tuesday collection from The Giving Girl. It had like a lot of great elements that I wanted to pull in, and the collection was 17 sheets of gorgeous stickers, and I was like, I can make use of all of these. I pulled in some of the stickers and scrapbooking elements from an Archer and Olive Halloween box. I want to think it was last year's. It was the one with the glow-in-the-dark stickers. So I pulled those elements in, and then I made use of some lace elements and red roses from Saucy Stickers Co., just because I feel like they fit the vibe. There were black roses that came with the Giving Girl, but they were like teeny tiny roses, and I was like, I need some bigger statement pieces. So this bullet journal theme spread setup is a perfect example of what happens when I follow the rabbit and go down the rabbit hole. Because I did have, so typically for my monthly setups, I have a calendar, and the calendar is usually a Dutch door, because I usually have some more like private information, or just information I don't want like on blast on the backside of my calendar. But I started creating this piece, I guess is what you'll call it. And it's from the scrapbooking paper with the frames. Since there were two pages, I had two of the same frames, and I looked at it and I thought, what if I took those two frames, put them back to back, and created a scene on each side? And that's as far as that thought went before I started doing it, because the follow-up thought to that should have been, where am I going to use it? How am I going to use it? And how am I going to incorporate it? Because to me, this is very much a cover page element. But the problem is that you can't just slap this down on the cover page. You kind of, the whole idea with this element is that you want it to be seen from both sides. So I had to reconsider my original calendar layout. And then as I was trying to attach this, I felt like it was like, I was like, I'm pulling this apart a lot more than I really want to. So do I just sacrifice my calendar to make this work? And I did. Again, you follow that rabbit hole and you see where it takes you. So, since I followed this rabbit hole, and I did end up somewhere magical, let me preface that now. I ended up with this Dutch door that had a large bottom element, and the rest of the elements had not been thought of. And then it's led to the whole problem of like the opposite, what the Dutch door is resting on both sides, and how to fill that space in. So I I don't know if I want to call it a trick, but I made use of this vellum paper, since the vellum paper is um, translucent. So if I wanted to have edges showing, I could have. Um, but since I was using a lot of black, um, I figured putting black, since this is going to be showing on both sides, putting black on the back side of it was a pretty good idea to kind of make sure that the sticker, um like, since I don't have an inverse of the sticker or a mirror of the sticker, I couldn't really like have it showing. It would look weird from the opposite side, from the back side. So I laid down a black base, which worked out because now it makes the sticker a little bit more saturated, I guess is the right is the word I'm thinking of. And then I peeled the sticker up, stuck it on the other side, tacked down the back where the vellum paper is, and then finished decorating out the back of this. So then I had to figure out a center element, and then I had the frames that came with the Giving Girl collection, and then I just had to figure out what I wanted to do. That's really realistically like the struggle for this, was figuring out exactly what I wanted this to look like, because I only went as far as the girl in the frame at the bottom. And like, if you don't plan out, like, it's kind of crazy. Like, we plan things, like, we plan our planners out. And to some degree, it's to avoid spending hours and and hours. I don't know how long I spent on this. Um, because I did edit a lot of things out. This is really sped up compared to what I normally do for my my type of videos. Um, and it's like, it's a fun challenge, but sometimes it's really frustrating when you just want to get it done. Like when you're on a time crunch and October's in 2 days and you want to get this done, um, and you have this crazy idea to film it. Um, so that's mostly why I don't do bullet journal content, is because I don't like to like have to wait to do something to film it. But like, look how like that looks great. I love how that looks. It just took a long time to get there. And like I said, I had to now figure out the rest of the white space because I didn't have a plan for them. Um, and I wanted to make sure that I used like larger elements to fill up these blank spaces, just because, like, I don't know. Um, I used to draw a lot in my bullet journals, but like, I never satisfied that kind of like artistic need that I wanted to have, because I'm not that artistically gifted, to be very frank. Um, I really thrive in like having structure and like straight lines and all that stuff, but like the creativity from like drawing, I'm not good at. That's why I make use of stickers now, because I wanted to have a certain look, and stickers allow me to have that a certain look. So on the opposite side of my cover page, I didn't know what I wanted to do, to be very frank with you. I never got that far. I started the spread and I was like, I don't know, we'll figure it out. But I did have this red scrapbook paper from Archer and Olive. It kind of looks like it has like a wallpaper background in the back. Um, and I just framed it with some black washi tape. And I did spend some time to like create little like corners, and you can't really see them on the video, I don't think. But I could see them in person, so like I know they're there. Um, but sometimes I'm like, why do I choose to do these extra things that nobody is going to see but myself? But then again, my bullet journal is for me. So um, this is the thing about surprise Dutch doors, is now you have to figure out what to do with like the negative space or the empty space created by the Dutch door. Um, and like I said, no game plan, just threw some stickers down, let them talk to me, figured it out. I knew for this one, I wanted to bring in another of the portraits, but I didn't want to cut out the center because it was tedious. And I didn't want to do the tedium anymore. Um, and the problem with this page, and I still think it's a problem, and it might just be a problem for me, is that it's kind of unbalanced. Everything's in this lower, like if I really thought about it, I should have made this like a bottom left hand thing and a top right hand thing, like a bottom left on this left spread and top right on the other spread. Like I realistically should have put the girl at the top and had the other, like flipped that Dutch door. But that's what happens when you don't plan things out fully. Like I said, the rabbit hole does take you to fun and exciting places, but sometimes they cause you more frustrations um, than you anticipate. So, yeah, I mean, not every spread is going to turn well. I didn't have a plan, so but that is a lesson. Not every spread is going to turn out exactly how you plan it. Um, and instead of focusing on those tiny little mistakes, it's best to kind of just acknowledge them, learn the lesson so that in the future, when you do something like this, you don't make the same mistake again. Um, and you move on, right? So my calendar, I use the more traditional Rider Carroll method, 1 through 31 down the side, days of the week. And to just do something different, I just used white gel pen, wrote October on it, and then put some deco in the top. That is this kind of cover page calendar situation. Um, yes. And then this chart on the left is something that I use personally. It honestly, I know like people are like, oh, well, y- no one's going to use this, but you could. And then they explain it like this, literally nobody is going to use. It's just a way for me to track babysitting. Literally nobody is going to use this method. So there's no need for me to explain that. Honestly, do not. But on the right side is kind of like a catch all this month. I have a few things that I like to do at the beginning of the month, the middle of the month, and the end of the month. And then there are things that we just want to do like 2 weeks from each other or once a month. And I just need to track when I last did it. Or just make a note of when I last did it. And that's kind of what that is. And then any other kind of big monthly tasks that end up happening go there too. Then I have my social media kind of dashboard, I guess you could call it. It's where I have an overview of like the content I want to post for Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I also track follower count on there. It's mostly a way for me to just ensure that I'm going into each of those platforms on a regular basis and posting in them. Um, on the right side is like it's called brain dump. It's mostly anything that has to do with just social media in general. Like if I'm editing a video and I'm just reviewing it and I notice some like funny things happening, I'll make a note in the brain dump to then fix it in editing later if I'm not able to get to the editing software. The next two spreads are a meal tracker and a one line a day. One for myself and one for my son. Relatively easy setup. Washi at the top, washi at the bottom, um, a black torn strip or torn paper to write it in. On the left side is the meal tracker, 1, 2, 3 meals, 1 through 31. And then on the right side is more freeform, just 1 through 31 down the side, write whatever I want to. Sometimes they're positive memories, negative memories. It's just something about the day. Then I have my package tracker, which is the one at the top because I spend a lot of money. I'm trying to get better. But actually, it's more just to keep track of any orders or any, well, it's really orders, but Amazon, sticker shopping, anything like that. It's not just stickers. Just to be very transparent. It's all sorts of orders. Um, I write down the day I order it, the store I bought it from, when I anticipate it, when it shipped, what it is, and when it got delivered. So that way, if it doesn't ship, I usually allow like a week for shipping. So if we're nearing that anticipated date and I haven't seen anything about shipping, I can like reach out and see what's going on. On the bottom is my habit trackers. The number of habits fluctuates. I just picked 5 for this month. I think I generally speaking do 5 habits a month. And they're not like, I don't treat them like a habit that needs to be formed. It's more kind of just tracking them. Typically I track coffee, like what kind of coffee I'm drinking, if I'm doing Dunkin' Starbs, Dr. Coffee, or it's something we made at home, or even I think if we eat out at a diner and we have that coffee, I consider that like coffee, like coffee at home, rather than the other types. Um, what else do I usually track? Oh my goodness. Flow, menstrual cycle. I am a woman who menstruates, so I track that. Why can't I remember what else I track? It's okay. We're moving on. So on the opposite side, I have a Dutch door for a finances tracker, because I want to be able to see where I'm spending my money, to get better at finances. It is a work in progress. But I do usually put it behind a Dutch door because, I don't want that information out in the world, right? So to be able to just tuck it behind a Dutch door is really nice. Um, and this time, in comparison to the first time I did kind of this lace edge, I realized after the last one that the like, since I used the vellum, the lace pattern was going to show on the other side, so there was no need to cover it up. But it was already too late the first time when I did it, so I was like, let's not do it the second time. And then for this cover page, I decided I wanted to just keep it a little more minimal on the scene creation, just because that key scrapbooking paper is very loud. So there was no need to kind of create a scene. And then I normally have a memories page, but I was like, I'm done with this for now. Let's move on to the weekly spread. So the weekly spread, I have a setup for, technically it would be 12 boxes, but I've merged 2 of them together to create the scene area. I have talked about it before, but I like having, like individual days just to jot down like task specific days. Like every Monday we take out the trash. Um, to Thursday or Friday it's payday or payroll. So tasks that have specific days, I'll usually put in the like that date. But if there's a task that kind of comes up and it doesn't have a date, it just needs to be done by the end of the week. That is what I use the opposite page for. It's kind of like a catch-all, notes, journaling, task lists. It's just a big open space for me to use as I see fit. It usually has a calendar just because I like to know where in the month I am, and the week number. This is week 40, so we know where in the year we are. And then for deco, I just pulled in a frame, pulled in some corners, and kept it relatively simple. Mostly because I was done. I was like, I wanted this to be over. So that's the spread. Well, see, that's what I normally would say. So these are my pages for my October bullet journal theme. I have the cover page, the calendar, the this month page, my social media dashboard, my 2 meal trackers and 1 line a days. Um, and then followed by my kind of trackers pages. So packages, habits, and finances. Usually followed by a memory page, but you're not going to see that here. And then here's the first weekly. So that's the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love it if you left me a like, commented down below, and subscribe to my little channel. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.